Hi guys, it's Amy from Little Farm Quilts, and I just bumped the camera. Of course I did, because I just started the video. I changed positions a little bit, and I'm doing this off my phone. My last video, which I think is 2 weeks ago now, I got somebody commented that I was hard to hear, so I'm hoping you guys can hear me better on this video. If you can comment below and let me know how that worked for you today, I'd appreciate it, because it doesn't do any good to watch me if you can't hear me. And this is a channel about, because everybody's doing this now, saying what the channel's about. I think Flisstube implies that it's mostly about cross stitch, but mine is mostly about cross stitch. I'm a quilter, I'm a long arm quilter, and I'm a nurse. And I do life updates as well, because I kind of think there's been this debate going on in the Flisstubes that I've been watching. Some people don't like the personal updates, and if that's not your thing, then by all means fast forward until you see me holding something up and then click in there. I may or may not have time to put timestamps in to show you where everything starts. But honestly, it's not hard. I mean, I watch a lot of Flisstubers to scroll through and see when they're holding up something. If I'm looking for something particular, although I have to say I don't fast forward through much. I like watching the Flisstubers and the quilters on YouTube to the point where I think we're getting rid of cable. Matthew, my husband, if those of you that don't know, we've just spent a week in Texas and Louisiana. The red cheeks, I think, are a combination of maybe some sunburn and maybe some windburn, because we ran into both while we were down there. And I just did not feel like plastering makeup on today to cover them up. So you see my red cheeks, a little bit of a red nose. I actually think it's probably more windburn than anything else, but you know, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, we just spent a week in Texas and Louisiana. We have a son that lives in Houston, and we have a daughter, son-in-law, and 2 grandbabies living in Bossier City, Louisiana. So not New Orleans, quite a bit north of there. And they're only about a 3.5-4 hour drive apart. So Matt and I made the decision, instead of going to Florida in February this year, we would go to Texas and Louisiana. It was much warmer in Florida, I think. However, we had a good time. We left Saturday the 22nd, and we left very early in the morning, so we were picked up at the airport, I think, by like noon local time, which is an hour behind me here. And we got able to meet up with, my son picked us up. My daughter, son-in-law, and the grandbabies came from Louisiana and were staying in an RV park near Houston. And we ended up meeting up at a Starbucks, I believe, and then headed to Galveston Beach for the rest of the day. And they had a very good day. Then the next morning, the daughter, son-in-law, and grandbabies went back to Louisiana. We stayed in Houston for a couple days. We went to Waco. That will be in part of my haul, to see Chip and Joanna Gaines, the silos. We went to the silos market. We visited the bakery. It's quite a cool place to go. We are big fans of Chip and Joanna, not just because of their decorating style and what they did on HGTV, but just how they run life. My husband has read his book. I just admire her and her creativity and what she's been able to do with that, and still hopefully maintaining balance at home with the kiddos. And it was just nice to go see. It was nice to be somewhere different. Waco was about a 3-hour drive from my son's, and directionally I think it was west, but I honestly, I'm not as familiar with Texas as I am New York State, so here we go. So we went there and spent the day there on Monday. Tuesday, we went to the Space Center in Houston. We went to the Johnson Space Center. We went to the Space Museum, took the tram tour, had a really good day there, because my family is a bunch of science geeks when it comes to space and exploration and things like that. Say what you will about it. It's just fascinating. some of the things. And I'm not really a conspiracy theorist, I guess. So I just kind of take things as face value and glean what I can and move on with the rest. Do you know what I mean? So I don't spend a lot of my time with the conspiracy theories. So if you're of that line, that's awesome. Pursue what makes you happy. It does not make me happy to spend my brain hours thinking about that stuff. So but we just had a good time. It was interesting. It was science. We're a bunch of science geeks. We like Star Trek. We like Star Wars, So it just all went well. I had my first Chick-fil-A experience there by the Space Center, which was fun. It was good. We only have one Chick-fil-A, I think, locally here. If you're local to me, then you can correct me on this. And it's a little bit of a drive. The other thing I noticed is there's Hobby Lobbies almost every corner down there, and I have to drive 40 minutes to my nearest one. But, so anyway, I digress. Then on Wednesday, we headed over to Louisiana. We made the drive over there. Spent a couple days over there, went to the aquarium, ate some seafood, cooked one night, watched my granddaughter in her gymnastics class, and then we drove back to Houston on Friday. Went out to dinner with some friends because my husband works for a company that also has an office in Houston. So we got together with some friends from there and my son. And then we left yesterday to come home. I should say today is Sunday, March 1st. So we came home on Leap Day, the 29th. We got home late last night and then couldn't sleep because of the day of travel. So I'm a little tired today. My skin is a little wanting for some relief, I think. But the laundry's going. The house is clean. Our house sitter that we hired did a fantastic job with our animals. We have lots and lots of dogs and cats and ducks. She did awesome with that. We didn't have to worry about that. So we all in all had a good vacation. Now we're back to the grind. So the husband is gone right now grocery shopping, because I had other stuff I wanted to do, and I think he likes to wander the store, so I just let him go do it. He said he offered to do it by himself, and I said, okay, as long as you don't mind, have at it. So he's doing that. I'm doing laundry, and getting this Flisstube together, getting some things reorganized and ready for the week. You know what it's like, guys, when you work, you have to kind of prep to get ready for the week. So that was like a 8-minute synopsis of my vacation. If you have questions about the area, or if you plan on visiting Houston area or Bossier City, Louisiana, feel free to drop your questions below. I will do my best to answer. And actually, I am going to write a timestamp down right now, just because I have 2 seconds. For those that wanted to skip over kind of the life update, we'll just kind of leave that there. I have coffee this morning. I have water. So let's get at it. If you don't follow me over on Instagram, you should. I posted a lot while I was on vacation. I felt like I was a posting fanatic while I was on vacation. I got a ton of stitch time. Ton. And you would think that doing all the things that I just talked about, I wouldn't have had a ton of stitch time. But the fact of the matter is, my son's not an early riser. My husband's not really an early riser when we're on vacation. And I'm always an early riser. So at 5 o'clock Houston time, which is 4 o'clock here, I would be up out in his dining room watching, with my earbuds in, watching Flisstubes and stitching. And I got a ton done. So I don't have a ton of whips to show you. I think I have 2 whips to show you. All the rest are finishes. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a previous finish first, because that's been a thing. So I wanted to show you, for those of you that have not been with me this whole time and you just subscribed, welcome. You should go back and binge watch, because my journey has been quite the eclectic little cluster of events. That's all I'm going to say. I am a long arm quilt maker that got back into cross stitching after like a 20-year hiatus, probably last year at this time, I think it was, because my husband and I were talking about this, because I did Mania last year, which I thought at the time was insane. But anyway, I did Mania and I did daily, I think it was Facebook Lives during Mania with my new start. And some of them have my daughter in them. And it was fun. It was stressful for me just because to have that many whips, I had never done that before. Cross stitch has certainly changed in 20 years. But this is one of the first sew-alongs I did, or stitch-alongs. It's the bow's a little crunched because I have it kind of put away. It's patriotic. I like patriotic. And this was a stitch-along with the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch and the Fat Quarter Shop. And it was last year. It was called Land That I Love. And I meant to look at the pattern to see who it was. It's either Country Cottage Needleworks or Little... I don't know. I don't know which one it is, so sorry. I will try to tag it. I think it's still available. But this is Land That I Love, and it has Uncle Sam. This was my first real venture into what everybody calls fancy floss. And I finished it. This is sticky board that it's on. There's another sticky board back here with a vintage check that I was gifted. This is a bow out of another kind of a burgundy check that I was gifted. I don't know how old that material is. I found this star at Hobby Lobby. And I found this board, which is actually a thick wall hanging board. I believe I found it at Joann's at the time. And that was my first real finish, I think. And I'm quite proud of it. I hang it on the wall behind me here normally just to keep it kind of out of the way. I have a whole bin of cross-stitch things now that I've finished. I can't believe how much I have now that I actually decorate with. And some things go in my Etsy shop. Some things I sell at, I do one show a year with my quilts and my quilting. And sometimes I sell a little bit of cross-stitch there too. But not much. But that is what I have for a previous finish. Are you ready? I had 5 finishes. One was a new start and a finish while I was on vacation. And I had 5 finishes while I was on vacation. So the first finish I'm going to show you, this is Snow Village. And I'm getting excited about that because I think today I'm going to have time to deal with the shutter and start getting these mounted because I know what I'm doing with all these. I'm part of the Snow Village Club through Fat Quarter Shop. This is part 5. This is from Country Cottage Needleworks. It's the Frozen Hot Chocolate Shop. Let's give that a second to focus. And I have to update that's what I was thinking about when I was getting ready to do this. My Stitchy Planner where I've listed out all my whips. I have to update that now because I have quite a few finishes. And I finished this poolside on a rest time. I am still not very good at signing and dating my work. So I don't have the initials and the year in there yet. But I think someday what I'll do is, well, before I finish all of these, finally finish FFO any of these, I will probably take a minute and sit down and work on that. I'm not really good at doing it while I'm working on them. I'm not sure why. I don't know. The second, I actually think this is the one I finished first while I was on vacation, is from Little House Needleworks. And it is called Suffrage. And this is a stitch along with Stitching with the Sisterlies, Bendy Stitchy, Michelle G at Bendy Stitchy, and Erin at 2 Martini Stitcher. I have finished mine, ladies, so it was one of the whips I took to work on the plane because actually I really liked stitching it. So I enjoyed stitching it. There's some errors, and I substituted the red in here. It called for, let's see, what did it call for? Let's see if I can figure that out. It called for cherry cobbler. I did not have cherry cobbler, so I substituted in licorice. So that was my substitution. Now I have a lot of floss to put away with these finishes. And these aren't ironed, guys. Sorry. I got home late last night. I did not want to take time to iron. But this is my Suffrage Act. Let's see if I can get it in a frame. This does have my initials and date in here. I kind of put it down here on top of the bricks. But this is my Suffrage. And I really like how that came out. I actually think I'm going to frame this so that it can hang on my wall. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Let me toss this over here. I have a lot of floss to put away now. I have floss sticking out everywhere too, so we'll see where that goes. The other one, this next one was a start and a finish. It is, and I don't believe this is any longer available. This was a charity chart put out by Michelle G from Bendy Stitches to benefit Puerto Rico. It was a PDF pattern in her shop. It is called Moral Compass. I bought it, downloaded, made sure I kitted it up before I left. I did not have the called for floss, so I just looked at my stash and used what I had. And I finished. This is getting framed up in a nice black frame, and it is going to go in my office. I saw this, and not only did I like the fact that it was a charity, that the 100% of the proceeds went to a charity, I liked the Harry Potter reference. I also liked easy or right, soon we must choose. I think there are a lot of times in life where it's very easy, my husband and I were talking about this on the trip, to choose easy versus what's right. So I really like it. I think that bodes well in my management of my teams as well. So I'm framing this and putting it in my office. I'm very happy with it. And it was a very easy, quick stitch. Very easy, quick stitch. I liked it a lot. Check that over there. I also finished, if you follow along with me, I was part of this jar club. I canceled my subscription to the club through Fat Quarter Shop. And I'll tell you why. Number one, I felt like it was giving me a lot of pressure to do the jars at a certain time, and it was interrupting kind of my mojo. Although I love the jars, I'm really trying to get some whips done this year. So I did cancel my membership to the club. That being said, I will continue to buy the patterns. The one I probably won't buy is the one that just came out with the bunnies. Mainly because I don't decorate with bunnies. I know that's probably sacrilege with some people. It's not my thing. I don't know. I don't know how to say this I would rather not that kind of bunny. Like I like the Brenda Gervais bunnies. I don't have any of her patterns. I like spring things, but not Easter bunny per se. That's not how I decorate. It doesn't go with any of the ways I decorate it all. I don't decorate to the tilt like Priscilla Blaine does, but I love what she does. It's just I don't have enough stuff, number one. And I'm very minimalist in my decorating, so I pick and choose what I'm going to put up. Does that make sense? So I wasn't super crazy about the bunnies. Now, hindsight, I should have just stayed in the club and used the bunnies as a giveaway. Could have done that for a giveaway when I hit 500 subscribers. But anyway, that's hindsight. Neither here or there. You'll still get something good once I get to 500 subscribers, so I put that out there. But I did like all the others I've gotten, and I probably will buy the future ones if I like them. So I have enough chalkboard Ada in my stash to stitch these things up. Trust me. So I did finish, this is all wrinkly, the snowy jar, the large. I had finished the small and FFO'd it quite a while ago and had it out. So I have this and the Boo jar to FFO still. And I plan to do those soon. And I'm changing what I'm doing with those. So I change my mind a lot. I have them flat finished and on an enamel easel from Hobby Lobby. And I like them like that. But I have found something up that I put on my living room wall that I think adding these two would make it really nice. So I think I might do that and do the washers and magnets so that I can interchange them. And I think that will be great. So I'll show you guys when I change that. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I finish things the way everybody else is finishing them, and then I change my mind. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's great to make things your own style. Everybody has their own preferences. I'm chucking empty project bags out of the way. I have another empty one here. It's always nice when you have empty project bags. All right, whips. So I am part of, I haven't done any more on this, I think, since last time I showed you, the Bloomtopia stitch along that benefits Make-A-Wish, Texas. I just checked before I came over here. The part 3 was supposed to release today. It hasn't yet. At least when I walked over here, it had not. It may have since I've been talking for the last 20 minutes. But this is my part 1 and my part 2. I did forget the white stitches on the flowers. There are white stitches on each one of those flowers. I just was filling in and got totally sidetracked and didn't put those in. I've decided I'm not unpicking all that to put those in. And I don't think it would look good if I just put the white over already stitched kind of salmon color that's in the flowers. So that's my part 1 and part 2. When part 3 comes out today, I will work on that and get that stitched up. I'm a little behind on the quilt, and I think I forgot to bring that release over here. I have part 2 release all cut out and partially sewn over there. Part 3 I will need to cut out. And so I bought the quilt kit for Bloomtopia. So there's really no reason I'm behind other than I had no time to sew last week. Trying to get ready for vacation and working the entire week getting ready for vacation. I found that to be less time down here in the sewing room, more on the go stitching as far as cross stitch went. So that's just how it worked out. Today is a whole day down in the basement with little breaks to go fold laundry and tend to the dogs and things like that. So I think I'll be stitching that probably this evening when I go up to settle down for the evening. So while I was down there, the only project I had left that I had taken with me, except for what I've shown you just now, was the long dog sampler that I had chosen for a long dog leap day SAL, hosted by Two Martini Stitcher. So check her out on YouTube. She also has an Instagram. I had picked out my long dog, had the floss thrown in a project bag, and this thing takes, I don't know how many colors. I don't know, 20? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I picked I think there's 20 colors. I did not count them. And actually I had converted it to DMC, ordered the floss. It came in one clump. I took the clump, chucked it in the project bag so it could go with me on my trip so I could start it yesterday because Leap Day was our travel day. And that was all I had left down in Texas to stitch on. So my son having Hobby Lobbies right around the corner, I remembered that I had recently bought some PDF patterns. One of the ones that I had bought, and they were on my phone. So one of the ones I had bought and I printed and left it at home, but I had the PDF on my phone, was Hello Spring by the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch. This is available in their Etsy shop. They now have 2 more available, which I'm going to show you in my haul because they're super cute as well. And they're smalls. So I like these because they're small. And I have a quilt rack shelf up in the living room that a friend of mine made me. And I'm going to make these and finish these into little pillows. And I'm going to have them on the shelf. So I had this. And I had the PDF version on my phone. I converted it to DMC because that's what I had available at the time. And I bought some 14 count black Aida because that's what they had. So there is no linen. I wasn't going to spend some time. There was some linen. I was not going to spend some time dyeing them. I do like it on the black. And I like it in my decorating upstairs. The thought of having the black chalkboard pillows with my other decorations. And you'll see when it comes springtime, and hopefully I get these things up. But I have a start. The cup. And it's stitching up quite nicely, I have to say. The only reason I stopped stitching was because we had plans that day and we were headed out and about. But that worked, and that's what I worked on before I could start my long dog on the 29th. So on to the long dog. As I just told you, I got to the point getting ready for vacation that I knew I needed this long dog in a bag to take. I thought I would have a ton of time to organize my floss. I had converted it all to DMC, and when I finish it, I will let you guys know what my conversions are, in case you would like to copy them. I'd converted it all to DMC. I had done a lot of work with looking up the Gentle Arts colors because I knew I was not going to be able to get Gentle Arts threads in here in time to be able to take it with me. But I could get DMC here in time. So I took a lot of effort to look up the Gentle Arts colors, take a look at them online in photos, and match DMC for me. Because I don't always go by everybody else's conversion from Fancy Floss to DMC, because sometimes the colors are not the same, nor are they even close to the same. And in this particular one that I chose, I wanted the look of it. So I wanted the colors to be as similar as they could be. I'm fully aware that over-dyed threads have variegation in them and my DMCs are not. That's okay. I'm okay with that. But I wanted to get, I should count these flosses. 24, and there's two colors in here that I'm actually going to use the same DMC for just because it will work, and they are very similar. So I actually have 23 flosses, I believe, in here. Yep. But this is Cardinal Points. This is a Gentle Art collaboration with Long Dog Samplers. And this is probably, if you've been following along with me enough, you know I have a full coverage piece that I stopped working on at least 15 years ago. And that is now getting some love every now and then. This is the next biggest piece that I've ever done. All my other finishes are relatively small in comparison. This finishes, because I'm doing it on 14 count Aida. It'll probably, they chose 18 count on here. I'm doing 14. This is probably going to finish at like 15. Yeah, probably, I have to do the math. Probably about 15 inches square, maybe last 14 inches square. So there's a story behind this. As I told you, I shoved everything in one of the project bags, not even thinking. So I grabbed a linen out of my bucket of fabric, and it's what I call a mystery linen, and I took a quick peek at it and said, oh, this will work, and I put it in there. I started stitching on it and it was not working. So I don't know if you can see this, but it's not only a linen, it's not an even weave, and I don't even know that it's meant to be cross stitched on. Do you know what I mean? Like, it looks like a crafting fabric to me, not necessarily something that you would cross stitch on. And I probably bought it right when I got back into cross stitching. So I quickly figured out, as you can see in about 3 rows, this was not going to look good. It was not working up well, and I didn't like it at all, and I wasn't going to continue to fight with it, because that's not how my cross stitch rolls. If I have to fight with something, it's going to be a quilt, and my cross stitch is something that I do for relaxation, and It helps me stress relieve, so I definitely don't want to be fighting with it. I don't mind doing a large piece. It's going to take a long time, but I'm really, really not interested in fighting with my cross stitch. Not. So I figured out this fabric wasn't going to work, and I'm probably going to throw it away. Along with the rest of it that I have, because I bought lots of it, I'm going to put it aside, and maybe I'll use it in crafting in some other way, table runners or things like that. Hold on, gotta get a drink. And I just stuffed up for some reason. I'm hoping I'm not getting sick, but you know, hey. So I started at like 5 in the morning. Like 30 minutes later, I'm figuring out this fabric's not working. I was having a hard time finding flosses because I had just kind of dumped them in this bag. And they were getting all tangled up in there. They were all DMCs. I hadn't bobbinated them. I hadn't done anything. Now, before I went on vacation, I was in the process of doing this with my DMCs and putting them on these cardboard thread drops. Just because I wanted them out where I could see them, just like my fabric. And I think I talked about this briefly once before. And I have a lot of DMCs, so this is going to take a while. I didn't have time to do any of this with these before I left, so yesterday was kind of a fight. Then the fabric didn't work out. And then we were running out of time. So I did not want to say, can we run and see if I can get some cross-stitch fabric so I can restart this long dog, because we were having lunch with my son, and then we were going to have to head to the airport, and I didn't want to add pressure to everybody. But here we were. We ended up at lunch near a Walmart. I normally do not buy my cross-stitch fabric at Walmart. However, I said, can I just look over there? And they were like, yeah, we got plenty of time. So I went over there and I picked up some 14 count Aida. Not the best quality Aida. I think it's DMC, which is fine. It's just not what I'm used to using. It's a little stiffer than what I'm used to using. And I knew, as you'll see in my haul, that I had white 28 count Monaco at home. And I knew that I could have waited and started it when I got home. And I had all this witch out that I've gotten from Fat Quarter Shop and the Monaco, and I could choose, but I wanted to start it on Leap Day. So I was pretty stubborn, to say the least. So anyway, we went into Walmart. I ended up getting 14 count Aida. I believe it's the DMC brand of Aida, and I started it. And I'm going to show you what I have done right now. I have to cut this down and zigzag the edge because the piece is really just too big for me to hold on. This is what I've got so far. I actually filled in the dragonfly this morning. So I had the black corner and I had this green line here. I started on page 3. I believe this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, this is a 6-page chart. I started on page 3, and this is why. I always start in the top right hand corner as you're looking at the fabric. I work right to left, up to down. That's just how I roll. That's how my brain works the best. That's how I can stitch the fastest all the time, is working from top right down. So I will probably work top right, bottom right, and then work top left from the right side over to the bottom left, right side over. That's probably how I will work it. And we'll see how that works. But that's just how I find I stitch fast. Guys need to find what works for you. So then I ended up stopping. I could have gotten much more stitched yesterday had I had my floss organized. I ended up stopping halfway through the first flight because the floss was just getting too unruly for me. It was tangling. It was getting mixed in with each other. It was just a nightmare. Gosh, I've never felt that way about floss in my life. And these are some pretty colors, and I did not want, I just didn't want to be frustrated over it. So I'm moving my threads around because with every project I have a pile of threads. I this morning put them all on thread drops and put them on a ring, which I'm new to doing this, and I don't do it all the time. But I think with this many floss colors, it just makes it neater. That way I can just, I can coil this up just like this. How pretty is that? And roll this up and stick it in the bag. And they stay nice and tidy, just like that. I need a bigger bag for it, so when I'm done talking to you, I'm picking out a bigger project bag because the one I had was a little too small. But this is much better. And then I can just unroll. And on these tags, which are just brown tags that I use for my shop, I have the floss color and the symbol in the chart. That way I don't always have to flip back to that page, that gives you the colors and the symbols. And I think other people do this too. I might probably do it a different way. But, so today will be, I don't know. I'm struggling. My whips are down now, obviously, because I've had 5 finishes. So I'm going to evaluate today. And I like doing a rotation, so I will probably figure that out. I think I have whips down there that I would really love to get up there, I should say, that I'd love to get finished before Mania this year so that I can decide what I'm doing with Mania. I haven't really decided, to answer the next question, what I'm doing with Mania yet. I know that at times I did not like having that many whips. I also know that out of all the holidays I will decorate for a lot, it's Christmas. Christmas is my favorite for a lot of reasons. My husband and my anniversary is on Christmas Eve. That's partially it. Christmas is a time for family, more so than any other holiday for us. So all of our kids tend to show up or come home, or most of them come home. Christmas has always been my favorite. It's one of my husband's favorites as well. So I'm toying with a couple different things about Mania. I have kitted up 2 things that I definitely want to work on Mania. So let's share that right now since we're talking about it. I have the winter whirligig. I've done the other whirligigs as well, spring, summer, and fall. I should take this out of the bag. I have the winter Winter Whirligig by Heart and Hand. I really love it, and I actually kitted it up with, I think, all the called for colors. I don't remember now because I kitted it up a while ago. But I'm pretty sure I kitted up with all the called for colors. Aren't they pretty? They're all fancy floss, and I'm going to stitch it on, I believe it's 24 count. It's left over from, what's it left over from? Don't remember. I think it's leftover piece from the Bloomtopia, might be. The other one I kitted up, and I said I like patriotic, is one that I saw on the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch. It is a Country Cottage Needleworks. It is called Every Heart. And I have, this is the pattern. And I like the sheep. I like the patriotic. I like the Every Heart Beats True for the red, white, and blue. And I'm doing this, you can see the colors in here all kitted up with the fabric. I have picked a, it looks like one of my tea dyed Monacos. That's what it looks like. The ones where I just plain tea dyed it. I didn't do any modeling or anything. So those are 2 things I definitely have going to go into Mania. So I've definitely been thinking about Mania. And we'll see. I don't know. I struggle with what to do about Mania. Just because having that many whips, although it's great to be able to reach into a bucket and pick something to work on, I feel like at times it's been stressful for me too to have that many unfinished things, and I have some unfinished things down in this quilting area as well. And having too many unfinished things just, I don't know. I don't know. Let's say that one more time. I don't know what I'm going to do with Mania. I kind of think, like I was listening to Kimberly this week on Fat Quarter Shop's Flisstube, I kind of think that my Mania is going to be a combination of new starts and whip work. I don't know. We'll have to see. All right, so we've been through previous finishes, my finishes and my whips. I think the next thing we're going to do is haul. Yeah, haul. So, while I was gone, this was my shop. While I was gone, let's start with fabric. I bought some 28 count Monaco tea-dyed from Fat Quarter Shop. I think that I'm going to model this a little bit like Coffee Dye It and model it a little bit. These are 20 by 24 inch pieces. And I've gotten this, plus I got 3 packages of Monaco 28 count 15 by 18 white. I got 3 of those. I'm going to do those in preparation for Mania, assuming that I am doing something for Mania. But I like different colors to work from. So I think these I will just darken up. I might take one and experiment with coloring it with Rit dye. I don't know. We'll see what my creativity... I've gotten a few new colors of Rit dye, so I'm kind of anxious to try them out. Pattern-wise, I bought the second pattern that came out from the Stitching with the Housewives was called Crunch. And although I said I don't decorate with bunnies, I kind of like the thought of the 3 of these in the cups. And I'll show you the third one in a minute, because this just came out while I was on vacation and I bought it out of their Etsy shop. It's called Peep. These are fast stitches. They're quick. And the one I'm working up is with all DMC, and it looks good with all DMC. I think it's because the largest area color is probably the cup. The other stuff that I ordered that came while I was gone, because I ordered it before I left, was a lot of sticky board. So I got a ton of 3x5 sticky boards and some 8x10s. Because typically that's the size I finish things off at, and if it's pre-cut, it's less work for me to do. I also got 2 things of Gentle Arts chalk. Can you see that? I have in my stash some of Priscilla Blaine Hands-On Design chalkboard conversion patterns like Honeybee Farm. I think that's the name of it. Carrots and Cottontails and stuff like that. And I'm going to need this, so I bought that. Fat Quarter Shop had a daily deal that had a couple things on it I got. So these are 3.5 inch heart on white scissors. Can you see those? Little scissors. I'm a sucker for little scissors. Like I have these. You see them in my pictures on Instagram. I got these in a sew box from Fat Quarter Shop when I was part of that program. I'm just a sucker for little scissors. I like having them everywhere. They work. And I'll pull these out. These are cute. Again, little hearts. And they're typically very sharp. And you can see that the blade's slightly curved. Maybe this one not as much. So it's easy to snip. They're embroidery scissors. And those are the kind that I like. Well, I like anything that's sharp, to be quite honest with you. And the other thing that was on a daily deal, because they have several now on flash sales. I shouldn't call them daily deals. Daily deals in Missouri Star Quilt Company. Flash sales are the Fat Quarter Shop. And I should have taken this out of the bag. So let's just do that right now. This book by Adita Sitar from Laundry Basket Quilts. It's called Sew in Love. And this is the quilt. And although I'm not a huge fan of the reds and the pinks, because if you followed me along enough, you know I'm not a huge pinky fan. But I think this would be beautiful done in some blues and greens as well. I know it's a heart theme and it should probably be pinks and reds and it's so in love, but I think it would look awesome in blues and greens. I just had to pick a fabric line to do it with. An excuse to shop for more fabric. And the other thing I received in a box while I was gone was part 6 of Country Cottage Needleworks Snow Village, which that will be started this weekend. It is called Popsicle Cart. These I start the minute I get them, provided the previous one is finished, and this one is, so I will start that one. I have to find where I put all my fabric because, yeah, that's a thing. I couldn't find that. I was looking for a piece of fabric that I'd already pre-cut to chuck with this one, and I couldn't find it, so I'll need to find that. The other haul I'm going to show you I got in Texas. So, I have a couple t-shirts that are currently going through the wash. One for the Houston Astros and one for Waco. I did get myself a Yeti from the Magnolia Silos because I like my coffee cups, my travel mugs, and why not? And I love them. The other thing I got, which I'm going to hang up with my 3-tiered tray upstairs, are these porcelain enamel covered measuring spoons. I just think they look cute on the rope to hang up there in decoration. I don't know that I would ever use them, but I got them nonetheless. And I think this video is long. I'm so sorry. The last thing I have to talk to you guys about some new things that are going in my shop. I kind of teased about it on my Instagram. I do have an Etsy shop, so if you don't know me over there, go over there and search for Little Farm Quilts. Not for Amy. I'm not there as Amy. If you search A Little Farm Quilts, one word, you will find me. It's mostly quilted items that are in there right now. Patterns, things like that. I did branch out into the stitchy world. I do not do bags in my Etsy shop right now. Number one, there are plenty of people on Etsy that do project bags that do them way better than I do. The ones I do here, because I whip them up really quickly, look like they were done by an elementary school student, and there are plenty of people on Etsy that do project bags that look better than mine. What I did do was I made up some needle minders, and I made these up as kind of an experiment. So I'm going to show you this one, this compass right here. See that compass? I liked it, and it was a set of buttons, and they are not metal buttons. They are hard plastic buttons. And I bought some of those earth magnets, and I wanted to see if it worked. So the first thing was to take the button, glue on the magnet with E600, take another magnet, and make sure they were strong enough. That was the first thing. Then that worked. And of course I come over here, no needles or anywhere. Then I needed to know, because if it was a plastic button, because the stuff that I put in my shop, I want it to be decent quality. I don't want you guys to ever, if you go to my Etsy shop, I do not want you to ever be dissatisfied with anything I put out there. That is a pressure that comes with when people ask me to custom make quilts for them. That is a pressure that I'm not going to say I don't like. I do custom quilts for people. However, it's a different kind of pressure than when you just make something and put it out there. But I still don't want anybody to buy out of my shop and question the quality or how it works or question it at all. So I don't like that feeling. So anyway, these magnets, this is cardboard stock, as you know, because of a business card. They're very powerful. And hold on while I'm going to reach over here and get a pin, because I do have a pin cushion close by. I wanted to make sure that the pins would hold on this needle minder. So I'm going to get a sewing pin here, because that's what I have. And I don't know if you can hear that click. That's how hard it holds. It draws the needle right to it. And I had it in my head somehow that all needle minders were metal. And not so really, because when I go to search, some people do them out of little rocks, out of antique buttons. And I have a whole bin of antique buttons. I may make some of those too, because I think those are kind of cute. But anyway, these will be going to the shop hopefully today. And I'm not sure for how much. But this is a compass needle minder. I just like it because I think sometimes we use stitching to find our way. And so I like the compass. For me, I use it to find my way. That is a plastic button. Then I found this, which is another plastic button. That's a clock. Can you guys see that? And that also, where did I put the pin? I just want to show you guys. These do hold the pins very nicely. Oh, my dogs are barking. The husband must be home. So I got that. Then, those I have quite a few of. This is like an English crest or something. I just like the looks of it. This is the other one I have. This would be cool on a long dog, I think, and I might have to steal one to use on mine because I just think that would be awesome. And then I also like this one a lot. It's a little fairy head. And all of them work really well as needle minders. I don't use a ton of needle minders, but I know why people do. I don't know. I didn't used to do this to my floss either, but I'm doing that. I think I'm finding different things that work for me. My craft is always evolving, as I'm sure many of yours are. So then when I was getting ready for vacation, I had bought a bunch of these rings, and I have a bunch of scrap paper. So I reinforced the scrap paper with cardstock, made thread drops, and then put charms on there. And I think these will be going in my Etsy shop as well. Some of them have a different amount of thread drops on them. And I have more to make. This one has a little turtle. Just because I thought they were cute. I think this one's my favorite one so far, just because of the blackbirds on the... See the blackbirds on the thread drops? I actually think they're hummingbirds, but they remind me of the blackbirds. And then I have a charm. I don't know if you can see that. It says Explore. I don't know if it's going to focus on them. And then a tree charm. There you go. And I think these are going to go in my Etsy shop as well. So, that being said, my subscribers keep getting an uptick. Like every week I get continued more subscribers, and I'm really thankful and very much appreciate everybody following along on this journey with me. It has meant a great deal to me. It is fun for me. I'm always amazed that people want to watch me on YouTube. So thank you. I do appreciate it. If you watch me and you don't subscribe, I think you should subscribe. And this is why. If I get to 500 subscribers, I am going to fully kit up one of my patterns out of my stash with fabric of your choosing, whether it be Aida, linen, and the flosses. And I mean, if it calls for fancy floss, I'm going to put fancy floss, not a DMC conversion. So, and I will include a thread drop. Thread drops with the ring and the charm. I think they call them thread minders, but anyway. That's my plan for 500 subscribers. I know there are a ton of people that watch me that don't subscribe. And that's fine because I lurked for a very long time. But if you want to be part of this giveaway at 500 subscribers, you're going to need to be a subscriber to this channel. And the day that I hit 500 and I do the video, you're going to need to like that video. That's how we're going to narrow everything down. So I'm kind of excited. Honestly, never thought I'd get more than 20 people. Because if you look back on my YouTube channel, when I was doing quilting videos, I had only probably 20 subscribers. But they were pretty faithful subscribers, and they kept watching and kept asking questions. So I was like, oh, cool. I'll just keep doing it. And I did. And then I got into cross-stitching, so I expanded. And now I'm getting the same. So remember, like, subscribe my video, tell your friends if you like me. If not, don't bother, because they won't like me either. And just, I love the community and I love the support I'm getting from this community. So even somebody small time like me that has a full-time day job and does this as a hobby can just get support from a community doing the crafting that they love. I think that's an awesome thing. I also think it's great when all of us can come together to support a cause or to remember somebody or to bring happiness where there maybe isn't so much. And Needle Market coming up has me super excited. I'm still trying to stick with my stash. So if I can kit one up and give it away to you guys, then that gives me room to buy one, right? Yeah, that works. So thank you guys. It's been a pleasure to be back with you. And I'm going to go rest and craft the rest of the day. So make sure you do something that makes your soul happy today.